And in our presentation of Exploring Shri Jyoti Star, we have, as we mentioned, hosted by the American College of Vedic Astrology, and the presenter is the developer of Shri Jyoti Star 6, Andrew Foss, PhD. And Andrew has a PhD in computing science and is an Oxford physics graduate with publications in Nature and other leading scientific journals, a great accomplishment. And he's the author of the book High Dimensional Data Mining. And in his personal life, Andrew enjoys a deep love of music and art and poetry, and has had more than 30 years experience studying and teaching the Vedic wisdom around the world. One of the nice things in our association with ACVA is with other organizations such as that founded by Andrew. Andrew's the founding president of the British Association of Vedic Astrology, BAVA, and also the editor of the BAVA journal, Gochara. And Andrew is a certified Jaimini scholar, which is one of the highest professional certifications that you can achieve in Vedic astrology. Andrew has also developed this subject of our webcast today, the unique and easy to use and powerful software Shri Jyoti Star that's become one of the first choices among leading Vedic astrologers around the world. Andrew's married and lives with his family in Virginia, and you can contact Andrew at learnvedicastrology.com or vedicsoftware.com. So, Andrew, I'm going to pass on the torch, as we say, to you. And then as I pass you the ball there, Andrew, you can take over and go forward. Okay, you're the presenter now, Andrew. And Andrew, we welcome you in terms of leading the webcast forward from this point.
Om Gangapataye Namah. I'd really like to thank Dr. Bill Levesey and ACVA for kindly organizing this seminar. We appreciate ACVA very much. Today we're going to talk about the software Shri Jyoti Star and the current version 6. This is something that's been under development since about 1981. I started working on it because I just needed some way of calculating charts. At that time there wasn't anything really suitable, and I also have this interest in research, with a scientific background, and in order to do research you really need to be able to do your own calculations. And even, now I'm even more into the research, and there's a lot of big developments really on the research front. So I'm sure you'll be hearing more about that in the next coming months. So first I started in 1981, and then when we got into the 90s, a lot of my friends started bugging me for copies. And so I went through the very, intensive process of producing something which was up to commercial standards, and we started selling that at ACVA conferences and other places. And we have lots of big plans. Next year we hope to have versions for the iOS, Android, and other possibilities. Okay, let's have a look at the software. And the first thing that you get when you open the software up is what I call the data entry. This data entry has a lot of features, much more than you'd find in other software. And there's far too much to discuss, in today's session, but there is a lot more information under the help menu. And there's even video. So there's text and video on the data entry chart. So that will go through a lot of the features. But I'd like to just discuss the simple process of entering data, and you'll see that there are some specialities to it which allows you to go fast. So you can just click New Chart if you want to enter a new chart, and then you type in the name. You have a choice between first, last, and last, first, which you'll find under the File menu. Once you type the name, the fastest way of getting to the next field is by pressing the Tab key on a keyboard, but you can also click in the next field. If you press Tab, it'll highlight, which will save you doing that with the mouse, and then you start typing in the date. Now, suppose you're putting June 30th, 1985. You can type June or 6. It'll sort out the formatting itself when you finish. So after typing a digit, say, you just need to put something that's not a digit, like a space, and then you put in the actual day. And then for the years, you've got some choices, and that's under the Entropy Choices menu at the top. You can have the computer assume that you're going to enter 2 digits for the year, or 4 digits, or no assumption. If you have the 2-digit, all your type is 85, and it'll fill it all out for you and take you automatically to the next line. So you can immediately start typing the time. And here you do, again, you type, say, the hours, and then some kind of a space, and then minutes, seconds. And when you're finished, you just press A or P, and then it knows that you're finished. You don't have to do that, but it just is a very fast way of getting to the next line. A for AM and P for PM. So now we can put in the city, say Moscow. We have a lot of recent Russian clients. And then you have to go tab to the next, where you put in the US state or the country. The country, you could type the whole of Russia, or you could just type RU. And when you hit tab, then it'll take you to the next field. In Vedic astrology, gender can be important in a few calculations. You don't find these fields in Western astrology software, but they have a certain use in Vedic astrology. So you can, the default here is F for female, or you can just type an M. And then the first letter, this is the sound, the first sound of the name, which is also used in a few more obscure calculations. This software fills it out for you, and you only need to change it if you really feel very motivated. If it's wrong, as I say, it's not used much. But if you do want to change it, then under the little pull down here, you'll see all the options, and it gives you some clues about the pronunciation, because it's a phonetically based concept. So there are lots of other fields. There's the atlas fields, which it will fill out automatically when you go through the city and the country. There's the rating field, which is based on the Rodden rating of the Astro Data Bank. And the advantage of this is it gives you a standardized record of how accurate the birth time is, including if you rectified it. There are notes. You can put in a pretty large amount of notes there. There are events. So you just type the name of the event, the date, the time if you like, and you can click Add, and you'll see the thing appear on the right, and they're sorted chronologically, automatically for you. And there are other informations you can add in. You can, on the right, you have ways of selecting transit charts and Prashna charts. There are lists. You can see all the charts you've entered, sorted alphabetically, or you can press that little alphabetical button, or you can sort them with the most recent charts you entered at the top, which is super convenient, I find. Then you can filter the list by astrological combinations, which can also be quite useful. You can tag your data with an A tag or a B tag, and then you can see the group that you've created, so that's very useful for certain research features, or if you want to batch print charts. So in different parts of the software it uses that. So this is the main screen. I'm just switching to North Indian style charts. You can flip between north, south, east and west style charts from the right-click menu, and there are various other ways. Now at the top you see the name of the current nativity, its date and time. If you click on the date or the time, you go back to the data entry, which you can also do using those buttons in the File and Edit menu. Here's what I call the native 2 and its date and time, which is usually a transit chart. But it could be another nativity for compatibility. So it's easy to work with 2 charts at once. And you can, in fact, work with more than 2 if you get it enthused. Up to 35 is the max on one page. So this is a layout, what I call a layout. There's 24 pages, and each page has a particular layout. You can show it by clicking the grid button there. And you can see this one has 5 cells across and 4 down. His is called the page wizard, and you can adjust the number of cells very easily. And then, of course, everything gets bigger. So if you have a small screen, it's better to have less cells, and then the point size gets larger. The size of the tables, you can't adjust the point size of the tables directly, but by making the cells bigger, automatically the point size increases because it's optimized for the size. Now charts and graphs can be adjusted by dragging. There's a little triangle at the bottom of a graph, of a chart rather, and if you drag that, then the chart gets smaller or bigger. You click this button, then you get a very fine grid, and now you can make fine adjustments, and you can position the thing exactly where you want it. And this allows for very nice and precise layouts. You can put background pictures, you can have different colors in the background, you can put borders, you can create really pretty charts. And if you go to vedicsoftware.com and have a look on the features page, you'll find some very nice examples of what you can do. Clicking those buttons again will hide the grid. Okay, the format menu also lets you immediately choose some different, that's 2 by 2, that's 4 by 3, you can have 5 by 3 or 5 by 4, so that gets us back to the original layout. See, there you can change the pages. You can change pages with page up and page down, keys on the keyboard also. And you've got, as I said, 24 pages to play with. And on each page you can create an instant layout from the Layout Examples menu. And then if you select something, you can either override what you've got on the screen, or it'll go looking for a page, a blank page, to put that layout example. So this is what I call standard page 2. It's just got a lot of information and different charts. And suppose you want to change something. Okay, this is a house chart. You want to put a Chandra Lagna chart. You can just click on it, and there you see the moon chart. You click on that, and you've got it. So customizing the pages is really simple. It's just point, click, choose, and you got it. So suppose you want to change a table. You click on the table, and you get this dialog screen. It comes up on the tables page. It tells you what you're looking at currently, and then you've got all the choices. Future versions this will get a lot simpler, but basically you've got the very common things at the top and a great deal more under this more tables below that. So let's suppose we select something, say the astronomical table. You'll see here it appears, and it's 2 cells wide. So some things are bigger and some things are smaller. And if you click somewhere there isn't room for the table, it won't appear on the list. So if you click over here and you go trying to put the astronomical table, you click on tables and you go looking for it, it's not there. So don't worry if something's missing, it's just that you have to click further to the left and the top, depending on the size of the object. So we click on a chart, you get on the charts page on the left you have the most common types of charts. Here are the divisional charts, standard divisional charts, a few extra goodies. Here are some advanced charts, all kinds of things you might get interested in. There's a planetarium, which is a lot of fun, and there's the teaching examples, which is really useful for people who have to give presentations. You can give your chart a title, select a sign for the ascendant, say Aries, select a sign for the sun, say Taurus, any planets that you want to show. And then you don't have to show all the planets, you just select the ones you want. And you click OK. And there you are, you see, it just shows you what you want to show. So you can give an example of a yoga in north, south, or whatever type of chart you want. And this is very convenient for giving presentations. You can also put in sort of mythical charts if you want to study them, but you don't have the date. So there are more things we can do with charts. But first I want to look at the concept of the Mota Graph, is what I call it. So this is one of the examples, under layout examples. It comes under Panchanga, transits and retrogression charts. And this is the Panchanga. So we know, probably all of you know about Panchanga. There's the solar day, the lunar day, the Karana for career, nakshatras, yogas, Tarabala, which is for personalizing. It personalizes this chart because it's related to the native, the waxing and waning of the moon. So this bottom one is from one of the ancient texts, which is a combination of the solar day, the Tithi, and the nakshatra, the lunar day, and it shows you when there's some kind of very auspicious combination of these three, which shows up green. And occasionally you get inauspicious, which shows up red. This is what I call the traffic light scheme. This is for October this year, for Abraham Lincoln. Unfortunately, he's not here to enjoy it. You can zoom in and you can look at the week or the day. When you get down to day level, it shows you the times, everything is changing. So you can zoom in and out. So it's very easy to see at a glance where there might be a good time in a month. Now there won't be a lot of times in a month when everything is green, but if you find you can just drag the little black line to that spot and it will change everything else on the page, and there you have the date and time for that moment. And here you have the charts. So you can see, okay, the Panchanga is great, the charts are not bad, not perfect, so you can adjust, fine adjustments you can get into. You decide maybe you don't like this lagna, you can change the lagna, or you say, okay, too close to the new moon. So it's very easy to find a good muhurta. There's so many things visible on one page. But at least here we have Jupiter aspecting the ascendant, and the ascendant lord's strong in the second house, and then the Varsha. So if we click on the chart, then you go to the graphs page, you can click on the muhurta button, and here are the different kinds of muhurta graphs, and here you can choose what kind of event you're focusing on. So if you change the event, then the color coding will change a bit because the nakshatras that are useful for that event and the tithis are different. So you select what particular type of muhurta you're going for, and then you can do the look for a good day. The color coding scheme is either this traffic light scheme, red, green, orange, or you can have a little bit deeper scheme. It has more levels. Then this is the transits, the planet strengths in transit over this week. And you can even bring in the effect of the planets in one of the Vargas, like the Navamsha or the Dashamsha, depending on the type of question you're asking or answering. And you do that by clicking these numbers at the top. All those things on the top right are what I call switches. And here we have the retrogression. This is a very convenient graph. You can see at a glance when planets are going retrograde or direct. And if you like, you can see even when the nodes are going retrograde or direct, but you have to just switch on the true node in the global options. You just click anywhere, you go to global options, and here you have all the sort of things which have a global effect on the software. They're the Rahu Ketu choices, for example, mean or true nodes. Above that we have the Ayanamshas you can choose from the list. You can even edit them. You can effectively create your own Ayanamsha. They're the house systems, and this has an effect on charts and some calculations. Example, if we choose the Shripati, then this brings the midheaven into play. Houses are calculated based on the ascendant and the midheaven, and everything is adjusted in between. So we'll see in a minute or two an example. When you click OK, these things are applied. Okay, I want to show you what you can do with charts, some more things. Now this is a typical chart with just the basic 9 planets, and this color scheme is what I call natural. Mars is red, Jupiter's yellow. Now we click here and planets, etc. in charts, and you can decide what you want in the chart. For example, you might want to have the outer planets, or you might want to add the Ruda Lagna. There are a lot of choices. You click OK plus go to main screen, and everything appears. It's very simple. Now, if you right-click, you can change the color scheme from the natural to something else. There are various scored schemes, like a dignity scheme or a multi-factor scoring scheme, which is the one used in the Mota Graphs. Or you can have just, plain old black or some other color. Some people find this much more easy to read. And you can adjust the colors generally throughout the program in the global colors section, including the backgrounds. You click on the background and you can change the color. Now if you click somewhere on a chart, you can decide if you want to see degrees next to the glyph. There are lots of different choices here. If you click degrees, you'll see that the ascendance is 28.6 degrees Pisces. You can have bigger degrees. That's useful if you're giving a presentation and people have to see from the back of the hall. Or you can have different other information presented next to the glyph. For example, Navamsha Nakshatra. So you can now see the ascendants are Pisces, Navamsha, Jyeshta Nakshatra, 28 degrees 6. So you can get a lot of information on a single chart, which can be very useful. And if you've got the color coding scheme on, these things will be color coded also based on their lordships. Now at the top you can decide what the chart is pointing at. You can point the chart at the nativity, the natal chart, or the transit chart, or other charts you may have loaded. Here you can also change the color coding scheme. You can even make the chart transparent if you have some some background you want to show through. Now the titles of the charts are usually color-coded by the nativity. For example, this would have a red heading if we hadn't chosen the black color scheme. And you can see that the native 2, the secondary chart, has a blue color and its charts are blue. But you can also cycle the titles so that you have the actual name of the person at the top. And you can do that using the title button at the top of the page. Or here you see title on the right. Now this is the circle chart. I just thought I'd show you this because it's very cool actually. You won't find this in any other software. And this is unique because it keeps the cardinal points of the chart, the midheaven and the IC, in the cardinal positions and adjusts the signs. So some signs get larger and some signs get smaller. This is the Shripati scheme, so it's adjusting the signs. And this is actually reflecting the astronomical reality. Signs rise at different speeds. Now there's a lot you can do with this chart. This is based on a realization a friend of mine had in meditation, that if you drew a circle on top of a North Indian chart, it would divide the circle into 12 equal parts, which is really actually an amazing realization. So after that, we created this chart. And of course, you don't have to have a North Indian chart in the background, but you can make it in the bi-wheel, select the in and out charts, and then you'll see that now we have the natal chart and the transit charts, and you can see their interrelationship. You can put the natal on the outside or the inside and the transit on the other. You can make various other adjustments. You can look at Vargas rather than just like Navamsha chart. This is the transit Navamshas. This is a very interesting thing to look at, the transit Navamshas. You can choose the style of the thing. You can choose the, you can have something that's more, a little bit more like a typical Western chart. Here it's got the just what I call spokes and numbers. It's numbering the houses for you. You can even put the ascendant on the left if you want. And you can animate it. You see that? You click there. You can select anything from 1 second up to actually 40 years. Let's say 1 hour. Click the run button. And now you see that the whole chart is animating. So you can watch the transits as they move along. You see the moon conjuncting Saturn? This is remarkably cool. And you can, under the time space change menu, you can do all kinds of things, speed it up, slow it down, change the increments and so on. So that can be done in various ways, but everything is under that menu. If you click that little button, you get the time space change bar. You can also get that from the menu. And you'll see here you have a few very useful increments from 1 minute up to a year. It includes 1 Navamsha and 1 Rashi. So when you're rectifying a chart, this is really incredibly useful. And the thing that changes is the name with the brackets around it. If you click on the name, it gets the brackets. So it becomes the one that changes when you're running or incrementing the time or date. So this is just some of the things. We haven't talked about the search features like searching through time for charts, which is really quite cool also. There's also a custom yoga. You can devise yogas and search your database for it. You can find people with quite complex combinations very easily, as well as many simple things. You can even enter your own interpretations and create a report using that. But anyway, we decided I'd just talk for half an hour and then we'll see what questions there are that have come up.
So the idea at this point would be if anyone had a question up to this point for Andrew, you can put it in the chat box, and then we'll make sure Andrew gets that, and we'll answer that. want to submit a question at this point, it's a good time to do it.
Okay, we have one or two questions.
Okay, so we do have a question. The first one is, Andrew, could you show us once again how to open the Panchanga?
Certainly. So I'm just switching to, here you go. Can you see the software now? All right, okay. So there are, Panchanga could mean multiple things. There's a Panchanga table. If you click somewhere on the screen, you can just select the Panchanga table. Then you have the Panchanga Mota Graph. So let's say we click down here, we go to Graphs, we click Muhurta, and then we say Panchanga here and click OK. And that's the Panchanga Mota Graph. Now, the way, when you use the layout examples to get the Mota Graph page, it sets you up because the Mota Graph refers to two nativities. It refers to a nativity and a transit usually. So here I just selected this and it's pointing at Abraham Lincoln and therefore it's for the month that he was born. But if we flip it, and to flip it you just right click and you go to switch this to the transit chart, which is for Los Angeles right now. So now you see this is for October 2014, and it's still using Abraham Lincoln's chart for the Tarabala. It's just that it's showing it for the current time rather than the birth time. And then the other way of getting Panchanga information is to go to Reports, and you select Panchanga Transits and Retrogression, and this gives you a report based on a chart, a start date. You can have it for a day, a month, or 3 months, and then the different things that you might want to look at. So if you select everything, you'll get a lot of detail about what's happening every day, how the Panchanga is changing, how the other traditional ways of dividing the day, like horas, change. You'll get an ephemeris for the day. You'll get the ingresses into Rashis, Navamshas, and Nakshatras for all the planets. You can get the changes in the transits, aspects, you know, when transits come into orb, become exact, go out of orb, and you can get also the Ashtaka Varga changes, Kakshya changes, and even some Dasha, day by day Dasha changes. And you can get a retrogression report as well, showing the days that planets go retrograde. So that's another very detailed way of getting a few months of Panchanga information.
Okay. The next question is, how do you revert to a chart that you have changed? Or revert to a chart that you've changed?
That's a very good question, because you often want to do that. So I made it really easy. Right, suppose we're messing around with Abraham Lincoln. We think, okay, maybe he wasn't Aquarius rising. Perhaps we think he's a Capricorn, all right? So we go to the time change bar. His name has got brackets around it, so we click that we're going back one Rashi. Then here we are. He's become a Capricorn. So this is a very easy way of rectifying. But then we decide that we've messed around and really he is an Aquarius, so we go to the native menu up here and we select his name and we're back where we started. So when you actually load a chart, it's put in this native menu at the top here, and that will just remember how it was when you first clicked OK. So whatever you've done to it since then, you can revert.
Oh, wonderful. So that answers our next question from Kathy, how to turn everything back to its original state.
Yes, that's one of the. You can do other ways. If you go back to data entry, you can always reload the chart by clicking on his name. But using the native menu is just super fast and convenient.
Great. And Elizabeth would like to know if there is a manual with the program.
Yes, it comes with a 14-page manual, but compared with the help, it's quite small because the help is, I reckon, 2 or 3 books worth.
Oh, wow.
The help is very extensive. If you say you punch on a table, you right-click on it. At the top it says, "What's this?" And I don't know if this is showing up on GoToMeeting, but all sorts of help will appear about that particular table. So, or chart, or graph, or whatever it is. So there is just a massive amount in the help, and including some tutorials like how to do compatibility, rectification, and various things. And then there are the little videos. You'll find under the help menus, under videos, you'll find various videos which are particularly related to how to use the program. So different parts of the program. And over the coming weeks I'm going to make a bunch more videos, but there is already, most areas of the program are covered by these videos.
Great. Okay, so Kathy's sending a clarification on her question.
Oh, good.
She's wondering, hang on here. Changing the pages, the options, how to keep those changes from being permanent.
Okay, all right. So the first thing is that when you've just done something, you can always press Control-Z to undo. That's the same thing as you'd use in Microsoft Word or pretty much all programs on the market. Control-Z is an undo, but you can do it from the edit menu as well, just undo. So you messed around with a page, you can undo it. But of course once you've sort of stored that because you move to another page, then you won't be able to undo the previous page. Pretty much stored it when you switch to another page. What else did you want to know?
Okay.
There might be more answers to this question depending on exactly what's intended.
Okay, well Kathy, if you have any more questions on that.
Control-Z, there we are, Control-Z.
Yeah.
It's very useful, the Control-Z. Now you can also lock the page under the Pages wizard if you want to avoid. You can turn off the drag and drop, which is sometimes good because if you turn off the drag and drop, you can't accidentally move something when sometimes if you're moving your mouse and you happen to touch one of the buttons, you'd be dragging something. So Control-Z will save you, but if you switch off the drag and drop or you click lock page, then you won't be able to change anything until you've unlocked it. Okay.
And then she follows up with, what if undo does not work because I have quit the program and now I want the initial layout back?
Okay, well the program doesn't actually really know anymore what your initial layout was, but the layout, if your thing started with a layout example, you can always go back to the layout examples and reload it.
You can change the file name, right, to remember that you modified it.
You can. Yeah, now Bill's a sort of advanced user, so he knows some of these tricks. This 24-page layout is not the limit. You've got the possibility of having multiple layout files. You can go new layout files, then you've got 24 blank pages which you can fill and save with a particular name. So you can create as many layout files as you like, but you're only using one of them at a time. And you can do save as. Suppose you decide, okay, I'm going to mess around, I've got something I really like, but I want to play with it, but I don't want to lose it. You can go save as and give it a different name. So then your original file is still there. You can always go back to it. But the new one you can do what you like with, and if you decide to abandon it, you haven't lost out. It's really like a word processor. You can do save as, save, new, open, with layouts, like you would with documents in Word or Excel or something.
Wonderful. We have another question here. Is there a way to see lugnas of the day?
Oh, yes. Yes, there are a number of different ways. The program's so large that even I don't remember exactly where everything is, but this special menu is really quite great. There's a lot of things under the special menu. Yeah, here it is under reports. So the femurus and sign rising times. There's a number of ways. This is just one of them. Okay, so this will show you, say, rising signs for the month. You click OK. And well, the thing is, we're right at the end of the month and it started today. So this is just the, I don't know if you can see this, but it's just giving the rising times for all the signs for what remains of October, okay. But we could have started it from the beginning of the month and then we would have got, all right, that's one way. Now I'll show you another way that's very cool. Okay, click down here, because you just don't mind covering that up with something else. And we go to tables, and then we go to rising signs. All right. Now when that shows up on your screen, you'll see this is for today. So it shows you the times when the charts are rising, the different lugnas are rising, but it also shows the rising times for the Navamsha, Saptamsha, Dashamsha, and Dwadashamsha, because I thought these are things that you often use when you're rectifying charts. So you can see at a glance, and some, you know, suppose you move the birth time forward or backwards by, say, 5 minutes, you can see which Varga charts are going to change. So that's also quite handy. There's a big and a small version of this table.
Okay. The next question is, does a change in layout change for all charts? So when she makes a change to the layout, will the change be reflected in every single chart?
How do you mean every single chart? You mean every single page?
Save charts.
So based on this, Shelby, you'll need to clarify, but based on what I'm reading, I'm thinking, like, for example, if she changes to the North Indian chart, will that be reflected in all the charts on all the pages?
Oh, no. No, no, no. See, click on this chart here. We go to Style here, and we change something to, say, South Indian, and click OK. That's the only thing that changes. So okay. You're just changing that particular object, whatever it is. And normally you're just changing one thing, but because sometimes people want to change everything on the page, so I've got this thing under the right click that you can change all the charts on the page. So you can do it if you want, but if you just want to have North and South Indian charts together, you can make it easy like that.
Oh, wonderful. That's a nice feature.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing a talk or something, you know, it's nice to be able to show the two different charts.
Exactly. Now if you go to Layout Examples and you go Copy to Word Processor example, because this is something that when you're writing an article, you almost always want to show the North and South Indian charts. So I just made a layout example that had both. And so just for those people who might be writing articles, and I hope they'll be sending them to Gochara, as well as the ACVA journal. So the thing to do, I don't know if you can see this, what I've done is I'm making the page, I don't know what's happening on your screens, but rather than having your two charts covering the whole of your computer screen, just make the window a bit smaller, and then you go to Copy, Edit, Copy, and you can copy as a bitmap or a vector. So if you're copying to, say, Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, you'd often use the vector format. And then you just you copy, and then you just go there, you do paste, and it appears. And as long as you start it off with a sensible size, it'll appear just nicely, and you can then resize it and everything looks nice. So it's very fast and convenient for making up PowerPoints or you know, articles or anything like that you want to do. You can even copy paste into some email. Some of the email services will let you just paste straight into them charts. The whole pages, you can copy the whole page and paste it, or you can copy an individual. If you right click on the one chart, you can copy this particular chart on its own as an image or a vector. You can even email it directly from the software, as long as you have an email client set up on your computer like Microsoft's Live Mail.
So we've got another question here. Upon download, I have two icons of Shri Jyoti program on desktop. One is the program, another is my charts. Is it supposed to be like this?
Not normally. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, because the My Charts is normally kept in the Shri Jyoti Star folder. And the advantage of which is the default location, you can put it anywhere you like, but if you keep it in the Shri Jyoti Star folder, then everything about the Shri Jyoti is in that folder. So if you save that folder, say to a hard drive or a flash drive, if in the future, you know, you're shifting to another computer or you've had a hard drive crash or something, you just copy the folder back and you're back where you started. It's all got your data, your layouts, your options, they're all ready to go. So that's why I recommend keeping them there, but you can keep your databases where you like. And you somehow put the database on the desktop. I'm not quite sure how. I mean, it's easy to do, but, you know, I don't know whether you intended to do that.
Okay. And we're running out of time, but we've got another question here. And it is there a simple way to get the Varshafal charts for a single year with all the Sahams, Dashas, Year Lords, Arudas? It seems like I have to manually change the year for each chart table. They do not automatically change when I change the year. I like to view VP with two natives. One is the birth chart and the other is the Varshafal next to it for comparison.
Right. Yeah, so, I mean, we could put a Varshafal chart here. There are multiple ways of putting a Varshafal chart. And you can put anything on the Varshafal chart you like. Like if we click here and we click on Varshafal. So this is Abraham Lincoln's Varshafal for 2014. And if we want to put, say, we want to put the Munta, and what else did you want? The Arudas. I mean, you can put what you like on the chart. House cusps, anything you like, you can put in there. And you can put degrees, and it's easy.
Okay. And is there an option to numerate houses in South Indian style?
Yes. Yes, this is what I call the legacy format, because it was Bill's idea. So you go down to here. I think we've got it under... Okay, here we go. So, see your ascendant's Virgo. I hope you can see that. So here it says house 1, it's Virgo. This is the Ashtaka Varga. And this is the house from the sun and the house from the moon. You see the moon's in Leo, so it's M2. And the sun's over here, so it's the 8th from the sun. And so on. Is that what you're looking for? I like it a lot.
Yeah, she hasn't added any additional information. Let's see here. We do have a couple more comments. One was from Anil Anand. It will be nice to have this seminar on YouTube so we can learn from it later. We will be sending everyone a copy, just so you know. And Shobha's commenting that she likes how it shows the Bhava numbers for the Lagna, the Sun, and the Moon. Thank you very much. Oh, and Claudia has a comment. I was referring to the separate tables that we get from the drop-down menus for the Varshafal charts. The ones that say Year Lords, Sahams, Planet Arudas, etc.
Right, right. They're all there. They're tables, so whatever you point the tables at. I'm not quite sure what the question was. Like if we want to put the Year Lords, so we can click here, and you go to tables, and then you go to Varsheshwara, Year Lord here. So that's the year lord for 2014 for Abraham Lincoln, and if you click these buttons it will increase the year you see in 2015.
Ah. Great. Neil Anand is just making a suggestion that it would be nice to have a Yahoo group so everyone can share their ideas and their knowledge on using the software. And Claudia is saying the question was that the tables do not automatically recalculate when we change the year. They each have to be done manually.
It depends. Like suppose we take the layout example for the Varsha file, like this. Okay, so now this one here in the middle we've got. If I click plus here, everything switches to 2016 or 2017. So if everything's pointing at this blue, like everything's got a blue heading, it'll all adjust when you click one, upgrade the plus or the minus that shows up on some of the tables. The Varsha thing is, I'm working on making it more perfect, but it works. The way it's set up, it works. I think you can create if you have sort of like green headings, like you tend to get, if you individually select a Varsha chart, then, when you change it, you're changing something other than that blue, which is affecting, see, because everything's pointing. The blue things are pointing at the native 2, that secondary one up here. But if it has a green heading, then it's pointing at something else, because you can have more than one nativity, or more than 2 nativities. So I agree this is not 100% ideal, but it's also, there are good reasons for it. So it'll be further improved at some later update.
Wonderful. So it looks like we're out of time.
I think we can end on that. Let me take back the presenter. Thanks so much, Andrew, for giving us just a glimpse at all the nice features of your program. We could spend, and I think we all want to spend a lot more time examining this and seeing all these tools that you provided. It's really quite rich in tools to help strengthen our work as astrologers. So thanks for that.
Thank you very much, Bill. It's been fantastic.
Okay. And I'll change the presenter back to me. So anyway, if you want to contact us at ACVA, info@acvaonline.org, and if you want to be up to date on any of the latest offerings from ACVA in general, we have a newsletter, and that would be acvaonline.org/enews, and you can sign up for that. And I think we've accomplished a nice thing today, and we want to do these kind of things in the future, more offerings of Vedic knowledge and tools, tips, and techniques. So I'd like to thank you all, and have a blessed day, and we'll go from there. Bye, everybody.